friends, welcome to Suresh Agarwal's Reasoning Mantra. In this video, we are going to discuss some problems on dice. This is part 2 of the series based on problems asked on dice in various competitive exams. If you want access to PDFs and video content on reasoning as well as quantitative aptitude, visit our app, The Learning Loop. You can download it from Google Play Store. You can also visit our website sureshagarwal.in for all such important PDFs on various concepts useful for various competitive exams. So let us first understand what basic concept is involved in identifying how a given open pattern can form a particular dice. So in this video, we are going to discuss questions where you have been given an open pattern and you have to identify what dice would it correctly form. So for this, you first need to remember the pattern or the sum of opposite numbers on a die is always 7. So the opposite faces of a die will always sum up to 7. So look at this. The opposite faces are the alternate faces when you open out the dice, like 2, skip 3 and then 5. So the sum of 5 and 2 gives you 7. Similarly 3, skip this and then go to this. 3 and 4 sum up to 7, and then 6 you can skip this, and 1. 3 and 1 will sum up to 7. So if I use a more accurate pointer, 6 and 1 sum up to 7, 2 and 5 sum up to 7, 3 and 4 sum up to 7. So the identification of opposite sides of a die is very easy if you understand this pattern here. E and F. Skip out B from the center. A and C. Again we are skipping out B from the center. And for B, the partner or the opposite side would be D, because here we are skipping out C. So you just skip one side and you come to the opposite side of the die. That is how you identify the opposite sides of a die. Now, there are 3 open dice patterns here on your screen. In the first pattern, 1 and 5 will be on the opposite sides. We are skipping 3 here. 3 and 6 will be on the opposite sides, and 2 and 4 will be on the opposite sides. If you look at the second pattern, 2 and 4 fall on the opposite sides. 3 and 5 will be on the opposite sides, and what is left? 1 and 6, they will be on the opposite sides. Here 1 and 3 will be on the opposite sides. 4 and 6 will be in the opposite sides. We are left with 2 and 5, so they will be on the opposite sides. Always remember, the opposite sides will sum up to 7. Let us solve a problem on this now. How many dots lie opposite to the face having 3 dots? So 3 dots are present here. So how do we find out the opposite side? Skip one side and you get to the opposite side. So the opposite side of 3 would be 6 here. So for this question, the correct answer is option 4, 6. Now in this question, you have to choose a box that is similar to the box formed from the given sheet of paper X. So this is the pattern of the open die that is given to you, and using this pattern, you have to find that out of 1, 2, 3 and 4, which is the box that will be formed if you close this open pattern. So let us first identify the opposite sides here. So F will be opposite to B, E would be opposite to C, and A will be opposite to D. So that should be the pattern. Now if we look at the first box or the first die that is given, F, B, E are not opposite to each other. They are adjacent sides. But we know that F is opposite to B here. So this is not possible. So we can rule out this option. Let's check with option 2 now. F, E and D. So F and E, yes, they can be opposite, and F and D can also be opposite. So yes, this is possible. In the third case, B, C and E are adjacent sides. So B and C is okay. And then E and C. E and C are opposite sides. So that is not possible. because E and C are opposite sides, they cannot be adjacent, so this option is also ruled out. And checking with the last option, D, E and A. So D, E and A. So we know that D and A are the opposite sides here, so again this is not possible. So we are left with just one choice, that is the second option, and that marks option 2 as the correct answer. Now, in the third question, instead of alphabets or numbers on the die, you have been given certain symbols, but the concept remains the same. So, if you look at this die carefully, this half and this half are actually parts of the same side. So, what we can do is, we can just remove this from here and we can put it here like this to make it easier to understand. So now this complete thing is one face of the die. That means one of the faces of the die has both these symbols at one side, and then just as we did earlier, we are going to identify the opposite sides. So opposite sides here would be this plane side and this plane side, this side with a square, and these two sides. So these are the opposite sides that we can mark for this figure. Now, looking at the options that are given to us, let us identify. If we look at option 1 now, the side having is equal to, that is this side and this side are adjacent sides with respect to one plane side. So this side and a plane side can be adjacent. Yes, that is possible. So it can be one of the possibilities here. Looking at option 2, we have three plane sides which are adjacent to each other, but we know that these two plane sides are opposite to each other. So we can have two plane sides adjacent to each other, but we cannot have three plane sides adjacent to each other. So this option is ruled out. That is not a possibility. In the third figure here, is equal to, square and a plane side are adjacent to each other. So is equal to and square can be adjacent, and a plane side can also be adjacent, like for this one or this one. Out of these two plane sides, one of these could be adjacent to the two given figures here. So yes, it is possible. And then we check with the fourth one, a square with two plane sides. A square with two plane sides, that is very much a possibility here, and that is also correct. So option 1, 3 and 4 are the correct answers for this one. So I hope you found this video useful. You've understood the concept well. Now practice these questions and see if you can get to the correct answers. If you like the video, don't forget to hit the like button. Subscribe to our channel if not done yet. And yes, please do hit the like button, the bell icon, so that you can get notifications for the upcoming videos also. Thanks for joining me.